Good morning, Snipes Academy. It is Tuesday, August 17th. I'm Mr. Yates, and this is Snipes Daily News. All right, everybody, welcome back. I hope you had a great weekend and a good start to the week. Let's go ahead and get into it with some weather. Right now, as of this recording, it's about 75 degrees outside and pretty humid. It should increase throughout the day with a high of around 90, and we might have some afternoon showers. Today, for this day in history, we're going to talk about Big Red. For today's This Day in History, I'm actually deciding to talk about something that happened a few days ago in history, but here goes. So, Man of War was a thoroughbred racehorse from the early 20th century. He was foaled in 1917 and known affectionately as Big Red for his reddish color. He was and is still widely recognized as, if not the greatest horse of the 20th century, or possibly of all time, certainly one of the greatest racehorses of all time. One of the things that made Man of War one of the greatest horses in racing history was his stride. Man of War could cover 28 feet in a single stride. He had the size and power of a sprinter, but the conformation of a stayer, that is, a horse that excels over a long distance. In 1920, he won all 11 races he started, set 7 track records, and wound up with winnings of $166,140, becoming the first North American thoroughbred to exceed a total of $200,000 in total earnings for his lifetime. That's about $3.1 million in today's money, so it's pretty good. He had an incredible record, 20 wins and 1 loss. It's that one loss, though, that we're going to talk about today. So on August 13th, 1919, Man of War was set to run a race at Sanford Memorial Stakes at Saratoga Racecourse. Now, the loss itself is not that spectacular. In 1919, when they ran these races, they didn't have like a starting block with gates that all opened at the same time like they do now. Basically, you just lined up the horses and someone said go. And this particular day had a really bad start. And even though Man of War got a really bad start and was like 4 or 5 lengths behind the entire pack, he actually ended up winning second by just the nose. So basically, if the race had gone on for even 20 more feet, he would have won. The only things that make this particular race notable is that 1, he lost, and it was his only loss the only loss of his career. But number 2, he lost to a horse named Upset. Now, I first heard this story when I was reading the book Seabiscuit, An American Legend. So I was believing everything I heard, and the author claimed that the word upset became associated with an underdog winning winning a game or a race that no one expected, and that the phrase more or less comes from this race when an underdog Upset beat the expected winner, Man of War. Kind of like in 2007 when the New York Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl to break their undefeated streak. That was considered an upset. However, when I researched this further, the word upset to describe a sporting event where the underdog unexpectedly wins, and actually it was a pretty common phrase in the early 1900s, and it goes back to as early as 1860. But it's still a cool story. The only horse ever to beat Man of War was a horse named Upset, which is both interesting and ironic. Now, after a very short 2 years of a career as a racehorse, Man of War was put to stud, and he actually sired a couple of famous horses. Namely, he's a direct sire for the horse War Admiral, and then he is a grandsire of a horse you may have heard named Seabiscuit. Grandsire meaning he actually sired a horse named Hardtack, who was then the father of Seabiscuit. For today's quote of the day, I decided to go with a Shakespeare quote from a play called Hamlet, and the quote is very easy. It's words, words, words. Now, if you're not familiar with the play Hamlet by Shakespeare, the basic plot is that Hamlet, a prince, his father dies and he comes back after exile to come and claim the kingship, only his uncle wants the kingship and may have actually killed his father. If this too sounds familiar, I would suggest you go take another look at the Disney movie The Lion King, as it has a very similar plot. Only instead of like Simba coming back with like a coalition of weird creatures and other lions to take back the kingdom, Hamlet pretends to be insane.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Another character, Polonius, asks him what he's reading, and he says, words, words, words. Polonius wants to know the meaning of the words he's reading, and Hamlet basically says, words have no meaning. They're basically just a median for thoughts and not actions. And it has a little bit of humor, too, because by intelligently saying words are not actions, he's kind of showing that Polonius that he's not, in fact, off his rocker. So I've only heard someone genuinely say this phrase maybe 2 times in my life, outside of the times that I've used it myself. But if you hear someone say words, 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 basically what they're saying is actions speak louder than words. Words mean nothing. So maybe a friend comes up and says, oh, so-and-so said this about you, and you just say words, words, words. One last point before I go. If you are in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade and you were not here on Friday, today or tomorrow, ask your enhancement teacher if you can fill out the form to pick your performance group. Otherwise, we're probably just going to place you in a performance group that we think you will enjoy the best. We don't have any birthdays today, so I'm going to have to end here and say that you all have a great day, work super hard, and I will see you here tomorrow. This is Snipes Daily News.